A speech in Washington this week, and you talked about what could happen if this summit falls apart, if they walk away from Singapore without a deal. Let me put it up on the screen. If the talks do fall apart, excuse me, you didn't cough, I did. The failure is likely to stir the president's most bellicose, aggressive instincts. Are you saying, Admiral, that if there is no deal, that we could be worse off than if there had been no summit in the first place?
I think what I'm saying is if the talks fail, that the likelihood of options are dramatically reduced to potential conflict. And that's a huge worry. I think despite the progress that's been made to try to understand Kim Jong-un, there's a lot we don't understand. And that he would be significantly different from his father and his grandfather to make the kind of changes that are being discussed would be a huge, huge shift. And I'm more skeptical than I am optimistic that he would do that. That said, it could happen. But I do worry about the downside of conflict breaking out, where tens and hundreds of thousands of people, particularly in South Korea, could die very quickly. And Kim has a huge arsenal to include nuclear, chemical, biological weapons. And that the outbreak there could be huge. And I don't know that we've had much of a debate in the country about the potential outbreak of nuclear war, use of nuclear weapons, which haven't been used since 1945.
But you have said, you're on the record as saying that you do not believe in the feasibility, the utility of trying to contain North Korea, that we can't live with North Korea as an active nuclear threat. So if this agreement were to fall apart, what would you have President Trump do?
Well, I mean, that's I'm not really sure. Those are the stakes that we're playing for right now. I really want this agreement, or I want the result to be denuclearization complete, exactly what the president's seeking, and also not have any outbreak of war. That's a pretty thin lane to get into, particularly if the talks break down. I also think we need to put as much pressure on China to ensure that there is no combat outbreak, and certainly include our allies in Japan as well as the South Koreans in generating this kind of outcome. What I'm most concerned about is if this doesn't result in a positive outcome, the potential for, I think, military conflict goes up, and therefore you get into